Carolina.
Building an audience. Let's see what happens when we get Josh Long, Shiyé, and Kevin Gilbert all in one little chat room. We got 32 people so far, 73, 112, 129. Hello guys, we're gonna do a special live feed tonight. We're gonna get to know a little bit more about Kevin Gilbert, and let's give a little insight and to see who he is and what he's about, and want to introduce everybody who's out there who don't really know who Kevin Gilbert is, and give him his chance to speak and to hear what he has to say. Go ahead, Kevin.
Hey, good evening, Dean. Appreciate you having me on here tonight. Excited to get a chance to chat with yourself and Josh. Seen a lot of the footage that you guys have done while I was up at Standing Rock, and since I've been gone. So yeah, I mean, if you want to start off and ask me a few questions. And
okay, Kevin, here's my first question. Where'd you come from, and what's your stance on the whole protecting the water here at Standing Rock, and where do you see the future of water protectors?
Fantastic question. Where I come from originally is a little place called Letchworth in Hertfordshire. It's just outside of London, and I came across to the US in 2006. So I've been out here for just over 10 years now, mostly in the Midwest. Where I come from as a person, I come from a background of addiction. And I struggled with addiction right until about 2009, when I started to make some changes in my life. So as a child, I was always very interested in nature, wildlife, going out in the environment. I watched a lot of programs. Growing up in England, we had a lot of really good television. David Attenborough shows, all about the life of mammals, the life of plants, the natural world. So that was something I was always interested in and learned a lot about as a child. And then when I fell into the world of addiction and lost myself, I lost my connection to nature. And it wasn't until I started to come out of that in 2009 that I started to reconnect with nature. So to me, the protection of the water is all part of us being caretakers of the earth. That we're not put on this planet to own it, we're put on this planet to take care of it. And for a long time, I lost my role in that, and I started to find that again. So where I see the water protectors is people who are connected with nature and are standing up for what they believe in a peaceful and prayerful manner. Specifically with Standing Rock, I first heard about it. I was down in South America, in Colombia, and I was traveling, and a lot of my friends, through kind of conscious music festivals mostly, met a lot of people, and a lot of those people came up to Standing Rock. In fact, some of my good friends, Kelly Love, Jordan Walker, Mooncat Preacher, were some of the first people to be arrested back in the first action on, I believe, August 11th was when the first arrests were made. They were some of the first, I believe it was 9 water protectors arrested that day, including Sarah Ionize. I think it was Sarah Ionize. I don't know if you can confirm that, Dean, but there was a doctor that was arrested that day. I know that much. So I was following that and lending my support while I was out in Colombia. And then when I got back to America in September, I really wanted to come up to Standing Rock a couple of times, and things fell through. And then I ended up getting on a non-profit bus. I got some friends that run a non-profit called Grateful for Grace, which goes from sustainable community to sustainable community. And they picked me up in Minneapolis, and we went out to Indiana. And we went to a festival out there, which was a gathering of conscious artists, conscious poets, and helped build some compost toilets. And from there, we came to a place called Mississippi Stand in Keokuk, Iowa. And what Mississippi Stand is the other end of the Dakota Access Pipeline. We came there for one day, and the the first day I was there, I watched someone go underneath the dump truck and lock themselves down. And I realized how much people were putting on the line. And rather than continue with a non-profit that headed off to go to learn cog building in Iowa at the Maharishi University, I ended up staying at Mississippi Stand. And I stayed down there for the best part of a month. And it was from there that led me to Standing Rock. Because I met some people down there. One particular guy was the state coordinator for Iowa for the Green Party. And they rented a U-Haul, and they brought some of the supplies that we had left over from Mississippi Stand up to Standing Rock. And that was around, I'm not good on dates, I think it was around about the 12th, 13th of November that we first came up to Standing Rock. So we came up with a bunch of supplies and a U-Haul. We ended up going into Bismarck to go and fill the U-Haul up with wood from the dump site there. And I ended up staying up at Standing Rock right through until sometime in December. I was up there for around a month or so. And part of the thing that I've always done is I've always live streamed just like you do, Dean. And at Standing Rock, it was really hard to live stream because the signal there, I'm sure you can talk to that, the signal there is pretty shocking a lot of the time.
Yeah, right now it kind of dissipated a little bit. Pretty much you can get Wi-Fi anywhere you want in the camp now. And actually you can live feed anywhere you want in the camp now. It's weird.
Yeah, towards the end when I was leaving, there was a women's march that I live streamed. I saw that I was working with some of the guys from my mind's gone completely blank. Red Lightning Camp, and I was with some of those guys, and we saw the march was leaving, so I caught the march up, and I live streamed the women's march, and then I actually managed to come back all the way through camp, down Flag Row, and down into the donations and live stream through there. And that was the first time. And that was right towards, I think that was the beginning of December that started to happen. And that was really nice to see, because one of the big things about Standing Rock has been the ability to get the information out, because the mainstream media haven't been there. And the only way people have had news about Standing Rock is through people like yourself, people like Myron, people like Dallas Goldtooth, people like William, all those people, Candy Mossett, who have actually been live streaming to a lot of people and sharing the stories. Now, I was up there the night of the 20th of November, and that's when my life really changed. A lot of people's lives changed that night. I was blessed to be able to get signal from up near the bridge on 1806, near the blockade. I was up on the hill that night, and I was one of the few people that had signal. And consequently, I was streamed that night for about 7 hours, the atrocities that the North Dakota police force committed against peaceful unarmed border protectors. And that footage was picked up by Jill Stein, and it was picked up by Bernie Sanders.
That's where
and consequently, it had 4.5 million views live that night, which was mind-blowing.
Yeah, it really was. I think you were probably the only one live streaming. And they were cutting your signal in and out too, am I correct?
Yeah, my signal went down multiple times. I think I didn't count, but I think I probably came in and out at least 9 or 10 times that night for that 7 hours. My stream kept being it was jammed a lot of the time. So you could hear my voice okay most of the time, but the picture was shocking. The picture was really pixelated. I remember I was up there with Unicorn Riot, and I can't remember the guy's name. It wasn't Lorenzo, but it was one of the other guys. And his phone was hacked while I was there. He showed me his phone, and it had this. It became like a computer, and it had this strange, like almost like DOS writing on his phone as if it was rebooting itself. He showed it on his live stream that night. They got a live stream up on something else, and he actually showed his phone. And I'd never seen anything like it with a phone. But someone had basically hacked into his phone.
Wow. Josh, what do you think about that?
Well, I think it's kind of one of the stories that I've been following for a while, and I definitely saw your footage, Kevin, from the 20th when you're up on that hill, because I think you had to do it in, 4 different parts or something like that, overall?
It was much more than 4 parts. I think it was probably 9 in total. I'm not sure. There was one stream that lasted about 2 hours, and after they managed to take me down once, I kept going down. Sometimes it would be up for 40 minutes, sometimes it would be up for an hour and 10 minutes, but yeah, they were pretty determined at taking it down.
Yeah, and you actually had seen the fixed wing aircraft that was flying around with no lights on that night too, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
wasn't the only night that was flying.
Oh yeah, and that was kind of some of the common thread that I've seen across a lot of other people's footage, like Johnny Danger's footage from that night being even more on the ground, how much the jamming, was actually taking place even further back at camp, and that's what I figured. Even back then, like that's when they were really deploying that hardware, not just as a passive means to identify people with and single people out of crowds, but also to use actively against people in jam communications. And so by the time we got there in the first week of December, that's about when they were pretty much flying, I guess, like pretty much nonstop, like doing figure eights all over camp. When that was with the helicopters too. So yeah, it's something I've been following for a while, trying to get some evidence on, because getting evidence on MZ catchers is already difficult as is because of what they're designed to do, which is to mimic cell phone towers. So they were migrating us off and on every once in a while. When you get that great signal at camp, it was basically their fictitious cell tower out there trying to net up people's communications because they take away all the encryption. So yeah, it's been a fun one to track lately.
Yeah, and I had other things happen as well on that subject. My phone, the first time it happened was down at Mississippi Stand, and I was live streaming the blockade. They'd blocked a toxic dump site from when they were drilling under the river. They had to take the toxic sludge and dump it, and we'd gone to a toxic dump site and blocked it. And it was the first time my live stream I think I had something like 27,000 views or something on that at the time. And all of a sudden, my whole Facebook went black, and everything else on my phone, all my other apps were fine. But if I went to Facebook, it was just black, and I ended up having to come back on Mississippi Stand's official live stream and continue it. And I've had that happen a few times live streaming, but I've also had that happen when I'm sharing things about Standing Rock. If I share things into a few groups about Standing Rock, my phone will do some really strange things at times, and I'll get this strange black screen that I have to reboot my phone to get rid of.
Yeah, that's something a lot of our followers from the live streams we've been doing. That's some of the things they've also been seeing, and that's also including people who haven't even been to camp at all, or even haven't even set foot in North Dakota. So it's an interesting phenomenon that's kind of been popping up, but since there's been such a blackout in mainstream media coverage out there, it really hasn't gotten out into the community. And even from the local news stations, you don't see anything of them talking about it. They just kind of glaze over some of the legislation that passes, and they don't really go into detail, let people know that, this technology is pretty much indiscriminate. Like, it doesn't know who it's vacuuming up. It's like, it's not just people at camp, it's all people in the Bismarck and Mandan area and all around North Dakota that are now basically a testing ground for this type of surveillance.
Yeah, Dean, what do you think about on the surveillance side? Because I know we spoke earlier, and I've had people who've had to reset their phones while they've been on my live feed, or they've just not been able to get my live feed at all, and other people can. So what have you experienced with your followers?
My followers, pretty much a lot of little weird things have been happening. I have quite a few followers that messaged me, state that all their whole hard drive shut down completely, and some of them even turned off their whole power as far as their whole when they're all in their whole surrounding areas. And also some of their Facebooks got froze up, and also they cannot. The weird thing about it is when I live stream, sometimes you can clearly hear what we're talking about, but the live streams would just be like static, or like a bunch of lines, like interference coming in and out. And also, sometimes my phone there would be strange people talking on it, and there's nothing on it. And sometimes the Facebook Live would go live, but it would freeze up. But it would say that you're still going live for like 2 days. Like, what the heck? And then when you stop it, it's not even there at all. So it does go weird sometimes. And it's been happening to mainly all the water protectors that have been putting out the media, like individuals like such as myself and Dallas, Angelo, you know, everybody else, Myron, especially Myron. The main thing about Myron was I always used to tease him about it, because when we used to do live feed, he'll be doing the drone thing, and I'll be walking close to him, and I swear to God, like 5 feet, you can't get no less than 5 feet by Myron, and anyone's live feed would shut off. So I was like, dang, man, Myron, they got you on the dot. But yeah, it was a serious thing.
Yeah, no, Myron. If I remember rightly, I think actually I interviewed Myron very briefly on the night of the 20th, up on the hill there. He had come up on the hill because he was having issues with his live stream, and he came up and was chatting with me. The only reason I stayed live was because I stayed up on that hill. If I ever went further down that hill, lost signal completely, because even for the Veterans March, when the veterans came and it was that blizzard, I was live streaming, and I tried to go further down close to the road, and even as you got closer to that road, the live stream went down. So I'm pretty sure that, you know, Verizon has a pretty good signal usually. So I don't think it's an issue with the cell phone. I think there's something that's interfering with the signal deliberately at certain places. And when you're in line with them, there seems to be a lot easier for them to take you down as well.
Mm-hmm. What's your what are our thoughts about that, Josh? What we've been discovering so far?
Well, I think even being on Cindy's show on 88.1 FM out in Fargo recently, the last couple of times, I mean, the amount of invasiveness that she's gone through, you know, not just online and with her accounts, which is based off of an FM radio account, you know, so people who are disrupting those communications are also doing so for an FM radio station in the U.S. It's not like they're doing it on her personal, you know, live feed accounts. So that, plus seeing people's posts getting taken down or completely removed from their wall without their knowledge, and then when the actual owner of the content wants to get it back up, Facebook gives them a runaround saying some vague response about copyright laws or something, and they generally just aren't responsive, because I think a lot of that is just auto-generated response, and they're basically just bouncing people around from bot to bot, you know, hoping that no one really complains, because they don't really have a way of, you know, resolving some of these issues yet, because I think a lot of them kind of come from like inherent design flaws in the way Facebook's been designed and engineered. So yeah. I think it's some bigger growing pains they're going to have to get through over time, like especially with the encryption side for their messaging. It's kind of ridiculous for them to do it only on, you know, the secret conversation side, but then not do it for the rest of their messaging platforms. So they leave a lot of stuff wide open, and I think that's kind of been their long-term agreement with, you know, local, state, and federal law enforcement for at least a decade now. So they're pretty open about how complicit they are when it comes to allowing law enforcement to jam people's communications, which in some cases, especially during the blizzards, you know, that we saw in December, were dangerous. People needed access to their phones, and ours were constantly getting shut off remotely. And that was shutting us off at, you know, half power, full power. It didn't matter how much we charged our phones, they would just fly overhead, and then all of a sudden our phones would show like we went to immediate dead battery, and then it needed to get plugged in. And I was like, well, that's ridiculous. Like, I haven't been using my phone, and I've been keeping it close to me because I film a lot, so I'm used to keeping my batteries warm, keeping them, you know, my inner layers. But, you know, that was something that I kind of witnessed, and I started capturing with the DSLR, because I figured, well, at least they can't shut those down. So as long as you don't get within rubber bullet range, you know, then you're good with DSLRs out there. So that was an interesting thing to really start documenting and speaking with researchers like Jeffrey Vaughn, trying to get a sense for a little bit more on the technical side, since I'm more on critical infrastructure type side. So I'm aware of how some of these networks are constructed and how law enforcement have used them and abused them in the past, but seeing how it's kind of gone nationally, seeing what was happening in North Dakota was a whole other usage of that technology. You know, they were really using it in a sense where they really didn't have jurisdiction, especially being on treaty land. So that in its own right was pretty unprecedented use of drones before they even had any specific okay to do so. So there was a lot going on, and yeah, that's why I was glad that you reminded people of the footage that you shot on the 20th, because I'm looking back at it, you know, as of yesterday, and you do mention Facebook going down for you and being hacked, Kevin, and I think that's one of the first times that I remember hearing somebody saying that on the live feed, and I was sitting all the way out home in San Francisco watching that, going like, yep, I'm not able to see it, you know, and I'm almost next door to the company that's supplying the live feed, so something's going wrong here. And so that's where the
Right.
is developing, you know, and it's not just coincidence when it happens to a ton of people and they're showing you what they're going through. So I'm glad that people have been documenting it and especially talking about it and raising awareness about it, because I think it's a spying program that's been implemented in the country for so many years now. It's been normalized, and that's how it sounded, you know, when we were out at camp. There's some people who made it the butt end of a joke, like, welcome to Standing Rock, you know. It's like, yeah, but you should normalize this level of invasive surveillance on especially peaceful, unarmed, you know, water protectors of all people. Like,
Right. That's what I was going to ask Dean. I mean, Dean, why do you think they are so keen to surveil people there when it is peaceful, unarmed water protectors? What's the threat here? What are they so scared of?
The threat is because they don't want the truth, and the truth is what they're doing wrong. They don't want us to be out of that system of their little happy-go-lucky world of a 9-to-5 job, have a routine, brainwash them with TV and television, make them get junk food and sit on the couch, make everything that much better and comfortable for the people of this country. That's why they keep us in the system. That's why they keep us in tune. What's going on?
What's that?
A person in the car right there is listening to this.
Huh. Okay, cool. Stephanie's just pointing out that someone sat actually. Someone sat here, and we're on our way to Colorado. We're in the middle of nowhere in Colorado, heading for New Year's Eve.
And someone's watching your live feed.
Sat in their car in the live feed, just waved goodbye as they're pulling up.
Oh, I seen that person commenting on the comment. I was like, they're either joking or they're for reals, but I didn't want to bring it up.
I didn't even see that. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But like I was saying, it's
funny they feel so threatened by
Yeah.
peaceful people. It's because people have woken up and realized that, you know, the TV's there to keep you stuck.
Yeah.
You know, your job's there to keep you stuck.
Yeah.
The way forward isn't a 9 to 5. The way forward is to live your own dream and to live from your heart and to take care of each other and realize that the only way that you can make anything, the only way you can make a real change is by coming together with people and realize that, you know, there's a very small amount of people that run everything in this country who are making themselves rich, and they don't like it when you figure out that you don't have to be a pawn in their game. You can actually step outside that, and you can be your own person, and you don't have to play inside the system. You can step outside that system. And that's what they're so scared of, you're right.
So what's your thought of money and the control of it?
Specifically around the pipelines, the money that's coming in.
The money money that revolves all around us every day, throughout funding, throughout pipelines, throughout government systems, throughout society as we know it.
Well, I'm a little bit hypocritical when I talk about this because I'm sat here using like headphones and equipment and stuff. So obviously I need money.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to say next, is that, you know, all you truly need in life is you need food to eat.
Yep.
You need water to drink.
Yep.
And you need shelter. That's really the only things that you need. We've been led to believe we need all these other things by advertising on TV. But if you grow your own food, if you build your own shelter, you don't really need money. The people that are running around chasing money, they're chasing money so that they can buy a house, buy a car, buy food, buy water, buy shelter. So if they just built their own shelter, grew their own food, then the need for money isn't there as much. And you have more time to do other things. So you have the time to, you know, pursue your art, pursue your poetry, pursue your music, pursue making your own clothes, all those different things. And then you can barter those things with each other. So rather than physically have to have money, maybe I grow all the tomatoes and you've got a bunch of zucchini. Well, I give you some tomatoes, you give me some zucchini. No money's exchanged hands. We've just exchanged the things that we have the talent to do. And that's what they're so scared of. Because if people actually start figuring out that they don't need all this money, they don't need to play the system's game, then the world could change overnight. And my personal view is it will. I think we're going to go more back to living in much smaller communities that are more self-sufficient. I think there's going to be a big change that's coming in the world, especially with the destruction we're doing to the environment in so many different ways, the fracking, the oil pipelines, the gas pipelines, the pollution through the chemicals that we use, all the different, the plastic in the sea, the disregard, the GMO crops, the loss of the honeybees through the particular neonicotinoids that are used, killing the honeybees. Well, the honeybees are the things that actually pollinate everything else. If we lose the bees, we lose our food source. So there's so many things that are happening out there, and the reason they happen is for money. GMO is all about money. So if you can step outside the money system, that's the way forward, in my opinion. And a lot of the money doesn't even exist. It's plastic cards. People have plastic cards and fictitious money that, you know, the country's in so many $1 trillion of debt. I mean, none of it actually makes sense when you start to look at it. And I'm not an economist, so I'm just speaking what I believe and what I feel. I'm not speaking for a position of massive knowledge on that.
So, I do believe, yes, before great change, we're all gonna see great chaotic destruction. That's just the way the world works, you know? So I believe that what happened here on Standing Rock is that first step into that evolution of great change. And we are gonna see, to me personally, I do believe the pipeline is gonna cross the Missouri River, and it is gonna leak, and it is gonna be great destruction. But what we were taught here, and what we gained here as family and as brothers and sisters from different colors around the world, that Standing Rock cannot always just be here. Standing Rock's everywhere. Standing Rock's in every country. Standing Rock's anywhere you want to believe it, and anywhere you want to dream it. So we could take that knowledge as water protectors, and we could go to other pipelines, and we can pursue and we can spread that knowledge of indigenous rights, as civil rights, as we could fight more than just pipelines. We could fight for the whole of humanity as good.
Absolutely 100% with you. I could continue this chat all night, but I have got to get back on the road. But you bring me to a good point, and if I may, I'd like to share about what's happening next.
Yeah.
Now I've left Standing Rock, what we're working on next, and I know you know my friend Miko Hayes.
Yeah, I know Miko. He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah, and back in September, Miko put together a petition, and there's a particular thing called HR 2029. It's about just short of a 900-page document, and towards the end of that document, in the last 100 pages, there's a particular little rider that was in there, and that rider changed the ability of the US to be able to export crude oil again, because it had been banned. And this was brought back it started in, I believe, April 2015, and by December 2015, it was passed through Congress. So what that allowed was foreign countries to have our crude oil. Well, in turn, what that allowed was a huge amount of foreign funding to come into all these pipelines that you're seeing popping up everywhere. So if you notice, so many more pipelines have come up since that happened. Not just the Dakota Access Pipeline, which incidentally, when it first was started, was supposed to be for the US. And it was supposed to be just oil for the USA, and then all of a sudden it became something completely different, and that oil is leaving these soils and going elsewhere. So a lot of these pipelines are for the same thing. It's not to supply something for the US. It's to take these resources that we all know is limited resources. We know that oil is a limited resource. So let's say you agree with these pipelines and you agree with using oil. Okay, It's a limited resource. So you're going to need it in this country in the future. So why, as American people, will we decide to let our limited resource go abroad to other countries to use, where one, we're either going to have to buy it back at a much higher price, and two, we're destroying the very soil that we live on for what? Even if you say oil's fine, and I don't, I think oil's unnecessary and we need to move into other forms of energy is my personal belief. But even if you don't have that personal belief, why the hell would you want to take your resource that's limited and give it away to somewhere else? That makes no sense. especially when it's making the 1% rich and it's not doing anything but damaging the communities of the majority of the Americans. So you've seen all the pipelines pop up. So what Miko is looking to do, and he asked me to help him with this, he wants to go around the US to various cities and raise awareness about this, have a physical petition where people can sign, where people have to be registered voters to sign, and to gather enough signatures so that this can be taken to Congress and we can look to have this reversed in Congress, so no longer foreign money can fund these pipelines. So that's the plan for 2017. We have a website set up already called Foil Big Oil. Foil, Foil, BIG oil.com. And you can go there and you can sign up for there's a mailing list. And as things come together in the upcoming weeks and months, we're going to be planning exactly how this is going to look. And we're looking at the different cities that we're going to be able to go to. We're going to be looking for speakers. We're going to be looking for venues. We're going to be looking for airtime on radio and television. We're going to be trying to visit some of the other pipelines, the Sable Trail pipeline down in Florida.
Drone pilots, bro. Drone pilots.
Yeah, absolutely. Miko has a drone, and he's going to kill me for telling you this, but on the first time he flew it, him and the garage had a little bit of a disagreement. So I don't know, if we're flying drones, it might be nice to have someone like yourself, Dean, as opposed to someone who's learning the trade. I love you, Miko. And the other thing with that as well is it's not just about oil. You look at Flint, Michigan. Look at what's happened in Corpus Christi recently. So we want to visit these hotspots and bring more attention, because now, through what happened at Standing Rock, I've been blessed with a very large platform, a lot of people watching. And we want to continue to use that to talk about defending the land, to talk about the sacred water, and to talk about the different way forward, so that we can look to become caretakers and we can take care of this place that we're supposed to look after, and we can stop raping Mother Earth, and we can come together and start protecting Mother Earth.
Exactly. Well, as long as we all as water protectors have a big platform, and I believe it's better for the future if we all work together and share these platforms and start having a bigger network to outreach to more people out there that don't even understand or have no clue of what's even going on here. You know?
Absolutely, brother. So, I mean, I'd like to talk to you more off air about what we're doing and how we can link this up, because we want to link in with other networks. We want to try and link in with things like Greenpeace, 350.org, Honor the Earth, all these different organizations.
Indigenous
so when we do,
Environmental Network, too, as well.
Yeah, we've also, I was made on the Indigenous Life Movement. I was made an admin on that page, so I have access to that page now as well. Yeah, we'd love to have EIN on there as well. And potentially, I mean, with regards to the events, having speakers, I mean, Tom Goldtooth would be a great speaker as well.
Yeah.
I know we're talking with John Bollenbull, who's got dapplelies.com, which talks, he's the $1 billion whistleblower in the oil industry. And he's got a documentary film that's coming out. He's got an hour-long film, and he's going to have showings in different cities. So we're trying to bring that together as well. So we've got a lot of work to do. It's not going to be easy to do that, and we're going to need a lot of help from a lot of places. And we're working out exactly how that's going to look. So right now I'm heading to Denver for the New Year's to go and see a band called Medicine for the People, Napo Medicine for the People, which has an indigenous roots band.
Yeah, they were there at the camp 3-4 months back.
Yeah, so we're heading there, and then we're heading back to Kansas. We'll be back in Kansas City. Back in Wichita, Kansas, with Miko at the beginning of the new year, and we'll be putting this thing together for Foil Big Oil, and we'll keep you guys posted, and I want to bring you guys on board.
Awesome.
I really appreciate the chance to get to chat with you. I'm surprised we didn't meet while we were out there. I met a lot of the other people, but
we all had stuff to do, and it was cold.
Yeah.
Hey, Kevin, can I ask you one more thing?
Yeah, of course.
What is it going to take to shave that beard of yours?
You know what? I have gradually shaved this beard. I was told I looked kind of homeless, and when I had a platform and wanted to be taken seriously going forwards, so I did get a haircut. I did shave the beard a little bit.
I'm talking about all the way up, bro. All the way off, man. Show that skin.
Dude, I wish... If you figure out a way to be my friend on Facebook, I'll send you some pictures from May this year when I was clean shaven. April and May in Columbia.
No,
you'll see me clean
it's gonna
shaven. This is a better look, man.
If we get over 50,000 views on this video live feed alone, then you're gonna have to shave that beard. How's that for a deal?
No, I haven't, bro. You know, people know me by this beard. In fact, while I'm down in Denver, I've got a very good chance to meet up with the woman who founded Earth Guardians.
Yeah.
Samara, yeah, and the person who set me up with the meeting, she told us I'm easy to find and the guy with the big red beard. So, you know, if I get rid of the beard, people aren't going to know who I am.
Well, hey, guess what? Guess what, though? When you're really wanted and you're targeted, all you got to do is shave that beard and you can walk right by your enemy and they won't even notice.
Yeah, I just have to keep my mouth shut as well, otherwise my accent gives me away every time. So I shave the beard and put a zip over my mouth and we'll be good.
Oh, man.
It's a big old Carhartt overalls, you'll be set.
Oh, man. All right, then, Kevin, I want to thank you for jumping on my live feed, and I just wanted to get to know you a little more and let the people of my followers know you a little well, too, because there's always a lot of people out there always got to say, you know, who's that guy? What's he doing?
Right.
You know, so these are the questions we got to come together for.
Chance to be heard.
Yeah. So, well, Kevin, safe journey to Denver. Don't get lost in those Rocky Mountains. And be safe, bro.
Yeah, you too. And let's get back together and talk more about this. And as the plans come together, let's see how we can work together with everyone's networks and bring this huge. And you're right, Standing Rock became the front line for everything.
Yeah. One more question before we go. You're gonna have to come back to Standing Rock before springtime. At least.
Man, them people up in Bismarck really don't like me, dude.
Tell me about it, dude. You still gotta
I could go into the death threats. I could go into having to change my phone number after.
Tell me about it, Kevin. I already lived through all that chaos.
I know, brother.
And you come out in the end a more better person and a more aware person and a more stronger person. And the fear just blows away with the wind. So don't be scared.
Yeah. I'll think about it, brother. I'll think about it.
All right, man. Well, it's nice chatting to you, bro.
Yeah, it was, man.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Dean. You guys have a good evening. Take care now.
You too.
You're good.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
All right, Josh. Are you still there?
Yeah.
There you go. So what do you think of Kevin? He's a pretty cool dude, I say. We all got to give someone a chance, you know?
Well, yeah, I think that's the problem. Is I think it's easy for people not to get news out of camp as fast as they'd like to have it sometimes, or be able to hear from people directly, because it is hard to connect out there. I think it's something that has kind of always been, the joke for a lot of us out there, but it's real. It's really hard to be able to establish a good connection when you've got one. You've got to be almost out of the state, for it to work really solid for you. So yeah. I think, for that to be, the best way for us to reach out to everybody and be able to have his followers cross over and meet a lot of your followers, I think is a great thing. I think especially people who've been working towards the same goal collectively, who've actually been out there, who really do see the challenges, especially just being out there in the weather and knowing what that experience is like. I think it's great to have those perspectives out there who want to actually spread the better lessons learned from those situations and bring them to other actions that are going to eventually start taking place all over the nation. So I think it's a great inspiration. It's a great place to start.
Yes, it is. Well, I think that's it. I think that's it for the live feed. You think so, Josh?
Community as well. What's that?
Do you think that's good for a good live feed tonight? I gotta get some things situated here, and then we might. If you're up for a late night one, I'm up for a late night one.
I might need to go eat first, though.
Yeah, get yourself something to eat. Oh, everybody wants to know what you're eating on your your feed, on your Skype.
Oh, it's a pig trotter. I roasted a whole pig out in France a few years back, and the chef always gets the best part of the pig, which for me, I always love the trotter because it just sits there and cooks nice and low and slow all day.
Yeah, I think he answered everybody. Everybody was like, "What's he eating?" All right, then, Josh.
Most fancy people won't eat the trotter, so I'm like, well, it's total
I
sport.
don't even know what the trotter is.
outcut.
What is the trotter?
What is the trotter?
It's like the front feet.
Oh,
back feet.
the feet.
Oh,
The
so
foot, I should say.
you have a foot fetish then.
They are tasty, especially when you slow roast over an open flame.
I don't even want to know, Josh. Never mind.
Not going Hannibal on anything.
Yeah.
Delicious pork products, that's all.
I'm just messing with you, bro. All right, well, get yourself something to eat, and I'll hit you up maybe in 2-3 hours or so.
That sounds great. Yeah,
And we'll talk about something. I'll go review these comments, and I'll see what people really want to point to as far as conversations.
Yeah, I definitely want to make sure everyone's questions got heard, because it was definitely hard for me a few times during the stream to keep up with the comments, mostly because they'd freeze out here and there when the video get interrupted. So it'd be good for us to be able to go through and get on in on those and make sure everyone gets some of their concerns voiced, so that way we can kind of do our best to address them.
Yeah. All right, well, I'm gonna cut you out here. I'm gonna end this feed.
When you're ready, and I'll be ready to go.
All right then. All right, guys. I hope that was a good show for you guys. Just wanted to get to know a little bit about Kevin Gilbert and, see who he is. A lot of people have a lot of different things to say, but, before we say, we got to learn how to be a good judge of character and to, let the other person speak and see what they're about. And that's what we did tonight. And it's all about coming together, whether we're indigenous or if we're other colors. It doesn't matter. We're all here for the same thing, and that's to protect the water. And now it's gone beyond protecting water. It's about doing what's right in this world. So, till next time, guys. You guys have a good day and good rest of the evening. And oh yeah. You guys want me to call Myron tonight and do a live feed with Myron? Is that what you guys are saying? Well, we'll figure it out. See where Myron's at. I know he's in the northwest somewhere. Well, talk to you guys later.